that nearly 1/3 of the food produced is lost or wasted. And even though we have more than 800 people going hungry every day, the impacts are not only humanitarian, but also economic and environmental. From farmers losing income to precious and finite resources like water, land, and energy being squandered. So today's conversation brings together a diverse group of experts who will share perspectives from across the food system, from production, supply chain, markets, and policy. Together, we are going to unpack the drivers of food loss and waste and highlight innovative solutions that reflect on the collective actions needed to conquer food loss and waste. Our goal is not just to exchange ideas, but to inspire practical actions and partnerships that can make a real difference. So to set the tone for this discussion, we're going to hear from presentations from WFP, starting with Ms. Ida Nachez, and we're going to hear from FAO with Dr. Anil. So over to the presenters.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Monsa, for that quick setting of the stage for this session. So maybe just getting right into it. Imagine growing food all year round and losing up to 40% of it before it gets to any plate. So Bangladesh loses, as we've already had in earlier sessions, we lose between 10 to 40% of the food post-harvest every year, which is a staggering drain on the food security, on the economy, and on the rural livelihoods. For the smallholder farmers, especially those in the remote areas, this means lower income and wasted efforts. This presentation will show how WFP integrates post-harvest loss mitigation measures into our livelihood programs by using aggregation centers to test practical and innovative solutions for the smallholder farmers. We'll be making reference to post-harvest losses, and four main types are referred to here. Quantitative loss is the first type, which is the loss in weight or volume of the food commodity. Qualitative loss is the second type, which refers to the deterioration in the food attributes, which then disqualify the produce from their intended purpose. Nutritional loss is the third type of loss here, which refers to the loss of nutrients during processing. And lastly, economic loss is the monetary value of both the qualitative and quantitative losses. For the purposes of this presentation, we will focus on four food commodities that are staples in WFP's food basket, as well as in the Bangladeshi diet. These are rice, poultry, fish, and fresh fruits and vegetables. The losses in these commodities translate directly into hunger and lost income for millions of people. Having a first look at the rice, as we all know, in Bangladesh, rice is a staple food, and this is the food that feeds the nation. So out of 40 million metric tons of rice produced annually, 8 to 15% actually never make it to people's plates. And that's because of challenges in handling and storage during production, aggregation, and processing stages. Taking another look at the fresh fruits and vegetables, the losses here are even more dramatic, as we had again earlier from the World Bank panel, with anywhere between 25 to 40% lost on an annual basis, which translates to about 2.4 billion US dollars. And this is largely because of their high perishability, the limited cold chain infrastructure, as we had earlier, and long transportation timeframes. Poultry and fish actually present a very unique situation in Bangladesh because the consumers here prefer to buy these commodities live. This particular tradition costs farmers very dearly by discouraging investment in cold chain infrastructure. Therefore, for instance, the fishermen have a very short time frame within which to make sure that their commodities are sold or consumed once the fish is harvested from the oceans. The maritime post-harvest losses are estimated between 20 to 30% annually, and that's the equivalent of $151 million every year. For poultry, the existing studies indicate a 17% annual loss due to poor housing, rapid disease spread, and contamination from unhygienic wet markets. Summarily, behind every lost grain or spoiled chicken is a farmer that is fighting an uphill battle. Smallholder farmers are very central to local food production and to the stimulation of rural economies. WFP's 2024 food value chain analysis confirmed 5 main obstacles that drive post-harvest losses. These are poor rural road networks and limited storage, fragmented supply chains and numerous intermediaries therein, the smallholder farmers' limited awareness of the market standards and good pre- and post-harvest management methodologies, as Mr. Dia had also mentioned in his opening remarks. The fourth point being the farmers' inadequate access to credit, and the last one being a well-known one, which is Bangladesh's disaster-prone environment. Addressing these root causes would unlock the farmers' potential, it would stabilize the rural economies, rural incomes, and it would strengthen the national food security. So at WFP, we have asked ourselves, how can we help the smallholder farmers to improve the produce quality and market access by working together? Since 2021, WFP, together with national partners, so the Ministry of Agriculture, FAO, other NGOs, we have established 62 aggregation centers in Cox's Bazar and 4 in Kurigram so far. These aggregation centers are marketing cooperatives that aggregate individual farmers' commodities and meet the institutional buyer standards. So WFP uses them to secure quality rice and vegetable supply for distribution within our Rohingya camp operations and in other local communities as well. Taking a look at the kind of farmer support that the smallholder farmers are getting from our aggregation centers, each aggregation center provides end-to-end support across 3 dimensions. First, they organize the farmers into formal groups to simplify contracting and upskilling. Secondly, they provide capacity building and strengthening right from a provision of agricultural inputs from the Department of Agricultural Extensions, such as seedlings, poultry vaccination, and so on, to trainings on various agronomic and post-harvest management practices, such as integrated pest control, composting, to recycle the inevitable food loss or the inevitable food waste that happens at the aggregation center level, and other modern techniques. Thirdly, the farmers, or the aggregation centers, are able to create market linkages, connecting these smallholder farmers to better prices and reliable buyers such as WFP. So with appropriate training, with agricultural inputs and market linkages, these farmers are able to collectively lift their produce quality and their income earning abilities. Looking at what's coming up ahead, what we have in the pipelines for our aggregation centers, so far what we've looked at is what we've been able to do and what the farmers are able to access now. On this backdrop, WFP is designing 5 new initiatives to scale up impact going forward. The first is the establishment of the agribusiness service centers, which we envision to be these one-stop shops that provide enhanced post-harvest loss solutions on a larger scale. The second is the introduction of hermetic storage, which would protect the dry grains therein from infestation and moisture up to 2 years. The third initiative we have in the pipeline is the provision of customized mechanization support with the help of strategic partners. For instance, with JICA, we will be having fish dryers that will be made available to smallholder farmers that can also be used to dehydrate fruits and vegetables to elongate their shelf life. The fourth initiative is the development of traceability tools, digital systems that will enable full supply chain transparency and allow for quality monitoring along the food value chains of the respective commodities. The fifth initiative, and this one is it will take a bit more, is the establishment of market linkages, this time not necessarily with WFP, but with Government of Bangladesh entities, ministries that are supporting national food assistance programs, such as the Ministry of Food's Food Friendly Program. The FFP provides subsidized rice, as we know, to 5 million vulnerable beneficiaries during the lean seasons of every year. And it allocates up to 20% procurement of its total rice requirements to smallholder farmers. So maximization of this procurement allocation would be best achieved through structured aggregation centers that will be located in close proximity to government-owned storage facilities to mitigate against inadequate storage challenges. So these aggregation centers will help the smallholder farmers to ensure good quality and quantity of rice for sale, while simultaneously assuring supply of good quality rice to Ministry of Food. Looking at the way forward for this aggregation center model, what are the opportunities? The aggregation center model offers WFP and its partners various opportunities to test post-harvest loss mitigation strategies at the farm level. It provides opportunities for mobilizing blended financing to cover the investment costs for the post-harvest loss solutions. It gives opportunities for innovation, for strategic partnerships to develop, and for scaling of pilot projects. By working together across sectors, we can accelerate the smallholder farmers' adoption of climate-smart technologies, and we're able to embed the aggregation centers within existing local government systems and ensure that they remain farmer-led, farmer-run, and sustainable even beyond WFP's involvement. In conclusion, every grain that we save, every fish, every chicken that is preserved, every morsel of vegetable and fruit counts towards WFP's mandate of achieving a world with zero hunger. In this presentation, we've highlighted how WFP incorporates its post-harvest loss mitigation into the work that we do. The aggregation centers reduce the post-harvest loss and food waste. They raise the farmer incomes, and once again, they strengthen the national food security. So if any of these approaches resonate with any of you in the room, we would be more than happy to continue this conversation after this session. Thank you very much.
So thank you so much to Ms. Ida from WFP for that insightful presentation. And in view of time, I would like to call upon Dr. Anil Das from the Food and Agriculture Organization to present the FAO approach and perspectives. Over to you, Dr. Anil.
ঠিক আছে এটা দিয়ে যাবো এখানে দেখা যাবে Good afternoon. Respected Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, we are lucky that she is here also, and our respected panelists and distinguished participants from different organizations, UN organization, also private sector. Thank you all. So at the beginning, I'd like to welcome all to my presentation. So my presentation will be on very simple. From the morning you are hearing many data, many things. My presentation is very simple. I will present what FAO is doing in the recent years on food waste and loss reduction. You know the name FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. The name indicates that we are roaming in, about and around food system, food security and nutrition. So food loss and waste is one of our main interventions area. So keeping pace with our objectives, we work for the better production, better nutrition, better environment, better life, leaving no one behind. And already you know that there is a UN organization keeping pace with the UN SDCA priority. FAO Bangladesh has selected the priorities from 2020 to 26. It is 4 pillars: productive, diversified, sustainable, and inclusive agri-economic growth. Number 2, healthy, safe, and nutritious food for all. Number 3 pillar, climate resilient and nature-based, low carbon sustainable development. Pillar 4, gender equity and youth development. All of the pillars are in any way involved with the food system also. So you know that from the morning it has already been discussed. FAO is now already decided to work on the food system approach. Our food system start beyond, that is pre-harvest, during harvest, post-harvest, and beyond. And FAO already considered the waste management is also included in the food systems. I think all of these are under the food loss and waste component in any way. If pre-harvest, that is farmers or the producers, cannot decide properly due to lack of their knowledge on the good quality seed, good variety, good species, good breed, then definitely they will get the less production than the yield potential. So due to this improper selection, we are losing our product. So we cannot avoid the pre-harvest also. So considering this, not only in Bangladesh, you know that the FAO work with the government of the member countries regarding the food loss and waste. We work for the post-harvest handling, cold chain, storage facilities, transportation, and it also provides technical assistance and training to farmer, food processors, and supply chain actors to improve practices and reduce losses. And also FAO works to raise public awareness and encourage behavioral change among the consumers and businessmen. It supports multi-stakeholder platform to share knowledge. And FAO is very serious about the food loss and waste. So you know that from the morning it has already been discussed that what FAO did for the recent years. The one interventions, we are lucky that we conducted a study, estimation of overall food losses and waste at all levels of food chain. So FAO classified the food in the 5 classes, that is cereals, fruits and vegetables, roots, tubers, and oil-bearing crops, animal products, fish, and fish products. So considering these 5 classes, FAO conducted one study, 14 entity we covered within these classes. I will not explain everything detail because fortunately the team leader was the panelist, Mr. Hassan. He explained everything. Our deputy FAO representative also mentioned the data. I will not go for the data again, it will be repetition. So this is also same study. So one thing is that very interesting in our country, and it is not all in our country, throughout the world, that food waste happen mainly. Most of the food waste happen in case of the higher society. That is, rich people used to waste more, but poor people waste less. And in study also revealed this one also. So avoiding this, in fisheries sector we conducted another study. That is a separate study, only for the fisheries sector. And that study we found many data, many things. Mainly in fisheries sector, the loss and waste happened After harvesting it is must, and harvesting to marketing and in the table, major losses happen in case of harvesting. When after harvesting and it is packaging and transporting and storing and it is in the market, the proper things are not used. Ice use percentage is not very good, and ice quality, some of the experts from the Food Safety Authority already mentioned that the ice quality which is used for packaging or the fishes, that is not very good. So contamination is there. Very interesting thing he said, if we avoid the safety, what we produce, it is not safe, everything lost. So that is an important statement. So safety must be the part of the food loss and waste. In the fishery sector, you see that the huge amount fish losses, it ranges from 7 to 19% losses to happen from harvesting up to the market. And in the how many percentage people use waste, good ice, it is also there. I will not go for the data. It will be annoying. It is available in the website also. This study is done by the FAO following the request of the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock. So our Secretary Agriculture is here present. I am very happy to say that following the request from the Ministry of Agriculture, FAO implemented one TCPA project, Strategic Support for Development of Investment Strategies and Action Plan for the Agro-Processing Sector. You know that in Bangladesh, the agro-processing is a burning issue. Ministry is also giving priority, and we are also giving its priority. And before that, the Secretary also, previous Secretary requested to conduct a study. We conducted a study for 1 year, and our implementing partner was the Ministry of Agriculture and Department of Agriculture Extension, Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock, Department of Fisheries also are the part. So the study is available. I will not explain all the things. I will explain the main points are there. We actually mapped out what should be done to make efficient our agro-processing sector. So we find out, this is the thematic diagram of that pathway. 6 pathway already suggested. It was detailed in the report and it is already submitted to the Ministry of Agriculture duly. The agro-processing, the pathway 1 is the research, development and extension. It is related to the science, innovation and dissemination. Pathway B, capacity development. It is related to the efficiency and quality assurance. Pathway C, it is quality loss reduction. It is related to the quality raw materials. Then pathway D, that is byproduct utilization. It is already enhanced utilization related. Then pathway E, that is consumer trust pathway, and it is related to market expansion. And pathway F, environment control pathway, and it is related to sanctuary, plantation and recycling methodology. In the report, it is clearly explained. Their report is with us, and also we have submitted it to the ministry. I will not go for the detail. So, from this study, we developed 2 concept notes to go ahead, how we can work for this more. Number 1 concept note was intermediate products innovation for mango and pineapple value chain for agro industry. The concept note is with us. We are working on it and we are searching for the support from the development partners where we will work for this. Then second concept note we developed from the study, reducing post-harvest food loss and waste from the horticulture chain. That is also already concept note is ready. We are working on. We are searching different donors and development partners to go ahead for the major intervention on this. So our 4th project, it was supported by ECAN. So definitely they organized this one, they supported, they funded. Support to modeling, planning and improving Dhaka food system. You know that this recently it is ended. This food system project was implemented in Dhaka North South City Corporation, Dhaka South City Corporation, Dhaka North City Corporation, Narayanganj City Corporation and Gazipur City Corporation. Mainly this project was aimed to capacity building and to improve the Dhaka or the urban food system. But in this project there was 3 specific activities that was exclusively related to the food loss and waste. The activity 3.1 was action to reduce food waste and losses assessed. The assessment is done under that project. Activity 3.2 was model and evaluate strategies for improving the wholesale food marketing, logistics, management, and distribution system. It has already been done. The report is with us. Then another that it was in the project that in 2022 we celebrated this day. Today is the World Food and Loss Day. We celebrated very widely. And we, from this product, there is a good product that is Dhaka Food Agenda 2041. That agenda was published and hard copy, soft copy is there. The main implementing body is LGRD. They are the partner and they are with us up to the end of the project. So following the request of the Ministry of Agriculture, also we developed one course for the agriculture diploma. You know that the agricultural diploma, our agriculture sector frontline extension field workers are coming for those institutes. And they requested to develop one course curriculum, and we developed one curriculum specially for the food processing too. That was the name of their course. And we developed this with the support of our experts, and we handed it to the respective authority, DEAE, and also the category board. So, other than this, we have a sub office in Cox's Bazar. Our good colleagues, WFP, also mentioned many things. In Cox's Bazar, our UN colleagues, especially we are working in collaboration with the WFP. WFP is mainly work with the host, Rohingya communities. We mainly work with the host communities. It is also aligned. So in Cox's Bazar, the activities is aligned in a way that everything are interlinked. Is host development initiative for the resilience future. So it was with the ILO. So in that program, we developed a international standard competency-based homestead and gardening modules where these things are accommodated there. The how food and loss will be reduced in the cooking time, in the production time, in the homestead production, and also is there, and 1,500 farmers already been trained on this, and that was a good training module. It has been approved by the ILO also. So other than this, we implemented one project with WFP. It was that is it's called School Meal Project, and WFP funded. We implemented that was the integrated agricultural practices, establishing market linkage, nutrition training, and related inputs for smallholder farmers in Ukia and Kutubdia sub-district of Cox's Bazar districts. So that was a UN project. In that project, we also included the training for the school students, school teachers, school managing committees, how to cook good and how to process their products and how to use the safe practices for getting the fresh foods. And that was also in collaboration with the WFP also, and we did it there. And I found that we are lucky that we also employed the Barton experts who are engaged with that training, and it was by them. They visited all the schools and there they did it very successfully. So other than this, our colleagues already mentioned Aggregation Center. I'd like to mention that at the beginning of the journey, ECAN also supported that also. And from the very beginning, we are working in collaboration with the WFP. WFP is also maintaining and they are conducting some aggregation centers, and we are also. FAO is exclusively working with the 25 aggregation centers. Aggregation centers, actually, it is a concept. I think for the Secretary Studies here, also the ministry also want the farmers market. Throughout the country, they are giving priorities. In the Rohingya and Cox's Bazar context, we is one step ahead. It is almost like farmers market, but some of the facilities are added there. The aggregation center is a center where it is the farmers are coming for the day-to-day solutions, and the agriculture extension department is to provide support and things and training, and they are entrepreneurs and they are aggregators. The aggregators are used to collect in the morning the fresh foods there, and within 7:30 the fresh foods are distributed very planned way, and we use the crate how loss to reduce the loss. And not only that, Recently, we are working and we are working with the Bangladesh Agriculture University Engineering Technology faculty. Actually, with this thing, our ministry knows that we are in trouble to get small scale multi-chamber for cold storage. It is very difficult. Technology is so much available. We have cold storage, but for vegetables, we need the cold storage in a way that different temperature could be maintained. In that case, I visited the Agriculture University, found they have some innovations in the agriculture that they could use very small scale and farmers can store it. Is 7 to 10 days, very easy, very fresh condition. It is not very high tech, but it is very traditional. We are trying to work with that one and to reduce the loss at the aggregation center stage. So these are the activities which recently FAO implemented. And other than this, we are also working with our partner ministries and how come we could add more our knowledge and our thinking and to mobilize resources in this sector. We are trying. Thank you. Thank you very much for patient hearing. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Anil. And now, because of time, I would like to quickly move into the panel discussion with introducing our panel of experts that have such vast experience and expertise in the area of food loss and waste. So to my far left, I have Mr. Ricardo Supo, a senior food security and program management professional with over 21 years of experience across humanitarian and development context. Welcome to the panel, Mr. Supo. And next to Mr. Ricardo, we have Mr. Muhammad Abdurrauf Mia. Apologies. We have Mr. Abduz Salam, who is a seasoned public professional with over 22 years of dedicated service at the Directorate General of Food in Bangladesh. Welcome to the panel of discussion, sir. To my right, I have Mr. Abdurrauf Mia, who is a director at the Department of Agricultural Marketing, the Ministry of Agriculture in Bangladesh. Welcome to the panel of discussion, sir. And lastly but not least, we have Mr. Abu Musa Muhammad Moniru Hassan, who has over 22 years of work experience in the field of optimization and manufacturing and currently serving as the Safety Management and Occupational Safety Officer at Square Food and Beverage Limited. Thank you for that. Welcome to the panel of discussion. Okay, so quickly getting into our panel of discussion, starting with Mr. Ricardo Supo from the World Food Programme. How do you envision WFP supporting the government of Bangladesh in reducing food waste and loss? How do you envision WFP supporting the government of Bangladesh in reducing food waste and loss in the food systems of Bangladesh?
Thank you, Wanda, for your question, and nice to see you all. I mean, first of all, it's like I think it's essential that we come to, when we talk about food systems, we need to understand the key basic diagnostic. I've seen a few features here that I think that are really worth it to mention and maybe try to put together to then come to the same conclusion. It was mentioned that 34% of food produced is lost. It was mentioned that 16 million people go hungry every day in Bangladesh. And I can tell you in addition to that of these 16 million people, most of them are farmers. Most of them are those that are involved in the production or are at the center of the production of food. So we are talking about as a market failure that is failing the producers. So mostly we are in a situation where the key problem is the farmers themselves are put at the side of the food system. And if food waste is a sin of the rich, as it was mentioned in the different studies, it is important to notice that food loss is the curse of the poor. And that's really like when we focus mostly as a World Food Program on the food loss, and to break this curse of the poor in the way that I'm following to explain. So, I mean, basically, we identify that we have the market failure. There's an imbalance of power between the farmers, the small farmers that are really like in a challenging situation, and they really don't have a bargaining power when it comes to price. If you look at the price creation process, the farm gate, the rice, is less than 15 taka per kilo. And the price in the market is over 75. What is left in the farmer? The most profitable, those that make money in the farming, in the rice industry, are traders, are not farmers. And then we complain or we are surprised that there is not capacity of investment in agriculture. All the money goes to the traders, not to the farmers. So there's no production. We are in a loophole. So, I mean, and that's why what Aida presented before is trying really it's coming from a strategy that is about making the food systems inclusive, making the food market inclusive. We need to bring more people, not only the big farmers that can benefit of huge economical scales. The majority of people that work in food, they work in producing food. They're starving regularly. I mean, that's unacceptable for us. I mean, that's something that we're doing wrong. So how then we take it from WFP, we take it from opportunities. So WFP, we see that we have in Cox's Bazar, we have 1 million people that needs to be fed every day. And we spend around $15 million every month for doing so. That means that we spend $1 million in procuring food. So we started from ourselves. Let's make it more inclusive. Let's not work with the small traders or with the big traders that manage the market. Let's make the engagement, and that's the aggregation center strategies. And this aggregation center strategy started from at the beginning very marginal because it's based on their capacity, fresh food corner, fresh food, and then we expanded to rice. If you want to reach volumes in Bangladesh, you need to reach rice. You cannot reach with aubergines and cucumbers. So rice value chain, and that's why, I mean, it's like then the colleagues mentioned the food-friendly program. If you wanted to expand that approach to the rest of Bangladesh, because the big procurer of food in Cox's Bazar is the World Food Program. In Bangladesh is Abdul Salam. Yes, is the Ministry of Food with the food-friendly program, open market system, and then there is the Ministry of Trade as well with the TBS, TCB. Thank you, TCB. So is really like creating a set of incentives, network of farmers that aggregate and get together and approach and are inclusive. Because WFP is 17 million per month. The government of Bangladesh, if I'm not wrong, is around 200 million per year of food procurement. 7% of the... Okay, but 7% of the rice that is produced in Bangladesh, it goes through the food, the procurement system of the government of Bangladesh. So that's a massive opportunity, and that's why we're working together. So the key solutions to make it more inclusive is a network of aggregation centers in the rest of the country, and traceability, possibility, and that's why we are piloting innovation technology like blockchain, Internet of Things, to automate the traceability. Like the traceability is like, the absence of traceability is really like a negative for the smallholder farmers. Because if the smallholder farmers, if they're not traceable, then they are excluded from the market. We don't know who is responsible for poor quality. Therefore, we exclude and we work with with big farmers. And then So the national procurement, the traceability, and the warehouse network for including. That's the priorities from our side. And just starting working with that on with the government of Bangladesh on the food-friendly program. That's from us to the next step. And training of government officials, yes. So just to try to summarize it, I know that we are one of the last that people that is separating you from lunch. So I keep it short, but any question is welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that insightful contribution. And it's very interesting to see that there's almost a 60 taka difference between the farm gate price of rice and the market price. This raises a lot of questions around how then can we help farmers access more of this profit. Moving quickly to the Director of Food, I would like to ask Mr. Salam, what are the top 3 priorities that the Directorate General of Food is prioritizing in reducing food waste and loss in the supply chain? And perhaps you can also tell us what role that the food security partners sitting in this room, as well as WFP, can play in supporting you reduce food waste and loss.
Thank you for your question. Thank you all. Assalamu alaikum. Reducing food waste and loss in critical priority for DG Food, especially in the context of ensuring national food security, efficient resource utilization. The top 3 strategic priorities are strengthening modern storage infrastructure and handling practice. DG Food is focused on modernization and expanding its storage facilities, including the use of climate control silos with the support of World Bank, mainly the coastal area like Khurna, Borishal, Chittagong, also Mymensingh, and other area of country, which is improved our warehouse management system, proper handling, pest control and moisture management are essential to minimize post-harvest losses during storage in public sector. Enhancing supply chain efficiency through digitalization, implementing digital tracking system for procurement, transportation and distribution help reduce delays and mismanagement. Real-time data allows for better decision making, reducing spoilage due to bottlenecks and ensure timely delivery of food commodities. Capacity building and awareness across stakeholders, training field level staff, transporter and warehouse managers on best practice in food handling, loss prevention and monitoring is key. DG Food is also collaborating with local communities and other government agencies to raise awareness and promote responsibilities food management. The other question was what role of the Director General of Food, invasion of WP and other food security partners is supporting in reducing food waste and loss. We envision a collaborative and strategic role of the WP and other food security partners in introducing food waste and loss across the supply chain. This partnership is essential for building more resilient and efficient food system in Bangladesh. Key roles include technical assistance and innovation. Partners like WFP and FAO can introduce global best practice such as improved gained storage technologies, digital inventory system and climate smart logistics. For example, during the National Dialogue for Food System Transformation in Dhaka, WFP and other UN agencies supported discussion on integrating climate responsive and inclusive solution into national food system. Capacity building and knowledge sharing. WFP actively support training program for government official and field staff on food handling, post-harvest management and supply chain optimization. These efforts help reduce losses due to poor handling and storage practices. Policy advocacy and multi-stakeholder engagement. through platforms like the National Food System Pathways, WFP, FAO, and World Bank. Another mention is IFRI have worked with DigiFood to align national policies with global standard. This collaboration promote evidence-based policy making and mobilization resources for pilot projects aimed at reducing food loss. Earlier mentioned Mr. Ricardo Supo, that we have 50 million people under FFP program. Nowadays it is 55 millions. We are helping by the help of WFP, different types of awareness building to losses our public sector food. You know here, we have only minor loss in preservation due to 6 months only 0.05%. So we are trying to reduce more in some sector like wheat, where zero losses in transit or in storage. This is my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that I speak for us all in this room when I say that inadequate infrastructure has been identified as one of the main drivers of food loss and waste. And it's interesting to see that this is one of the priorities of the Directorate of Food, as well as digital tracking systems and traceability, because WFP is working in that space, and this presents an opportunity for collaboration. So quickly moving to the Department of Agriculture Marketing, Mr. Abdul Rauf, I would like to ask or find out from you, what are the key challenges that the department is facing in building sustainable food value chains in Bangladesh, particularly looking at strengthening cold chain systems that serve smallholder farmers as well as vendors. In addition to that, how can we incentivize or how can we attract private sector engagement in this area?
Respected Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, distinguished guests, dear audience, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. And thank you, Ms. Monsa, for raising the questions about the key challenges and what initiatives or policies would encourage the greater private sector investment. So from today morning till now, we have heard many statistics. We have already informed about many statistics, data, information about the food waste, food loss, and what are the initiatives should we take, etc., etc. And obviously, we know that food waste is a big issue, not just in Bangladesh. It's also worldwide. And in our country, almost 1/3, we have already heard before, 1/3 of our food we produce never get eaten. So it's a big problem for our farmers, our consumers, our economy, and of course for our environment. And it is a big challenge we deal with every single day. And being here, to talk about something is this issue and to find out key solution. So it's something I am very passionate about. So now, what are the key challenges? Typically, we have already identified many challenges. There are lots of challenges I have noted here. First of all, the infrastructure gap. Actually, building sustainable food value chain in Bangladesh is rectangled a multifaceted challenges. And the Department of Agriculture, for short DAM, is actively working to address it. And one of the most pressing issue is that the lack of robust cold chain infrastructure and transportation facilities. So this is the number one challenges, infrastructure gap. Number two, high cost and technology. Already in the previous panel discussion, we have heard about the technological invention and etc. So high cost and cold chain systems demand high investment and technical affordable technical expertise. So next, we have identified that is the coordination and awareness building, which linkage across the value chain and the limited farmer awareness reduce the both efficiency and adoption of cold chain system. So I am not going to I want to share the regular challenges, what I have already discussed before. I want to take a single case studies like the production, the overproduction of and the price crisis of potato this year. So here is the story something. There are hindrance or there are some there are some, I should say that there are some challenges what we have never mentioned here. So that is, everyone saw that some farmers get more benefit or get more money the last year by planting potatoes. And in this year, everyone jumped in and planted potatoes to do the same. So at this moment, the result, the huge oversupply or super supply of potatoes. And there are more ways of potatoes than the people want to buy. And that's why the price crashed and the farmers didn't or do not get their fair prices. Number one. Number two, some warehouse owners bought up some potatoes from the directly from the farmers, and they stored in their warehouse and waiting for the prices to go rise. And even they missed the perfect timing when there were international demand. And because of this, the importing countries like China, they imported potatoes from other countries instead Bangladesh. And because of this, Bangladesh lost the exporting opportunities. And number three, there is a big problem in export related issues, that is in we have no cargo demand to carry out the agricultural products, because everyone, we know that we are concerning about caring about the ready-made garbage leaving behind the agricultural products. So there is a challenge, and we need to coordination among the Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Commerce, and Ministry of Foreign Affairs also. So these are the challenges what we have mentioned before and now here. And now what initiatives? So to encourage greater private sector investment in cold chain and sustainable value chains, especially for small scale farmers and vendors, there must have combination of some small smart initiatives, and enabling policy is essential. And that is number one, we have already mentioned before, there is fiscal incentives, there is tax benefit, and duty exemptions on cold chain equipment, and concessional financing on agricultural business or agri-business investment. Number two, partnership. Partnership, there, that is the joint coordination or partnership where government or where the government provide infrastructure, land, and policy facilitation, while the private sector actors bring their investment on efficiency, technology, and investment. Number four, risk mitigation measures. There must have mitigation, there must have guarantee or blended financing models to reduce investments risk, I think. And number five, land and infrastructure support. That is, for cold chain development, we should embark on land in agro-processing zone or growth center with reliable electricity supply and good roadway, road connectivity that can make investment more attractive, I think. And most important, most important initiative, I think that is the regulatory clarity and standard. And we must have clear guidelines for food safety that cold chain operations and quality assurance that can build our investors' confidence and ensure a level playing field. And for saying the level playing field, I don't mean it is for the political parties. It is for only for the investors, private investors. I mean it. And most important, among those, the most important is digital integration and data access is the initiative, encouraging digital platforms. I mean, different types of apps, maybe, that connect producers, marketers, consumers, and logistic providers can improve efficiency and transparency, making the sector more investable, I think, and it should be a great policy initiative, I think. And my department, that is the Department of Agricultural Marketing, is committed to creating an enabling environment that ensures investments in cold chain systems which are sustainable, pro-farmer, and beneficial to border food chain and sustainable food value chain. And thank you all. I'm hearing.
Absolutely. I want to appreciate the challenges. You do acknowledge that the challenges are plenty, but I think the ones that you speak to are quite important and quite urgent. Infrastructure gaps, high cost of technology. For sure, infrastructure may be available, but the cost makes it inaccessible for farmers. And of course, the last, export. Export standards are hard to meet, especially for the farmers that we work with. And I like the initiatives that you come up with to engage the private sector or to attract them. For example, an enabling policy environment is the difference between an attractive and engaged private sector and one that is just aversive. So with that, we would like to now hear from the private sector. Mr. Hassan, this time around, I'll get it right. We have Mr. Hassan from Square Food and Beverages Limited, yep, from the private sector. And from the private sector perspective, can you tell us what you believe the role that retailers can play, manufacturers and food service providers in Bangladesh in reducing food waste and loss? And how can supply chain innovations, for example, better forecasting, packaging, and logistics, reduce food waste and loss?
Yeah, thank you very much, Monsha, and good afternoon and assalamu alaikum to everyone. So I'm representing Square Food and Beverage. A bit about the company so that you will be able to understand what we actually do and how we are contributing in reducing food loss and waste in Bangladesh. So we manufacture foods and we purchase agro-based raw materials from the farmers. We take it to the warehouses for round-the-year storage. And from the warehouses, depending on our market demand, we manufacture foods in our factories. And then we distribute it through our distribution channels across the country. So we not only distribute in Bangladesh, but also we export to around 42 countries across the world. In the USA, Canada, in the Middle East, Australia, Japan and China is our main exporting countries. So let me highlight some of the initiatives that we have taken and we will be taking in future to reduce the food loss and waste, and how we are contributing to society as well as to Bangladesh's economy and ensuring food security. So there were a lot of discussions in today's morning regarding various pillars to drive and to reduce the food waste and loss. So I'll highlight some of the initiatives across those pillars that we have already taken. See, one of the issues that we faced is we produce aromatic rice under the brand name called Chashi. Probably you have heard of this brand name. So this aromatic rice, the hub of this aromatic rice is Dinajpur, one of the northern part of the country. So the issue that we faced is while exporting this aromatic rice, there were a lot of, I would say, complaints from the countries that these rice contain heavy minerals and heavy metals. And that's when there were issues. We stopped exporting to countries and they were not accepting our aromatic rice. So that's when we started contract farming with the farmers in Dinajpur, along with the collaborative effort of Department of Agricultural Extension. So we are taking all sorts of support from DAE and to make our farmers aware how we can prevent these heavy metals and usage of, I would say, toxic pesticides while cultivating aromatic rice. So we have agriculturists who closely work with our farmers in that part of the country. And you would be very glad to know that whatever export we are doing in terms of rice is now free from those toxic pesticides and heavy metals. And now we are exporting in the USA, in Australia, in Japan and in Canada, this aromatic rice. So this was one of our initiatives called contract farming, along with the collaboration of Department of Agricultural Extension. So that's one part. There were a lot of discussion regarding the infrastructure, how we introduce solid infrastructure to ensure food storage so that we can reduce losses. And also you'd be very glad to know that we now own cold storage. We have set up cold storage facilities and we have invested around 100 crore taka for setting up cold storage facilities in Pabna. And we purchase red chili from the farmers, particularly from the Bogura Shariakandi area. And the issues that we faced is that chili season starts from March, April, so which is in a way overlap with the rainy season in Bangladesh. So whenever this rainy season comes, so the moisture of chili goes up, which actually is detrimental for storing chili around the year. So what we did, we set up this cold storage facility so that we can store chili for around the year from cycle to cycle, season to season. And we purchase around 8,000 to 10,000 tons of chili now every year, collect it from the farmers, purchase it from the farmers, and then carry it to Pabna and store it in our cold storage. So this has significantly helped us in ensuring availability of chili for our production process, as well as reducing the wastage and losses coming from that chili. And also, I think you were talking about a lot of technological innovations and issues. So you'd be very glad to hear that we have introduced dryers so that we can dry chili. Earlier, we were dependent on sunlight. Now, what happened with sunlight during the rainy season? You don't get sunlight. And as well as during the winter season, the duration of the day comes down so that we also don't get enough sunlight to dry our chili and other vegetables that we purchase from the farmers. So we introduced mechanical dryer, through which we can dry chili and other vegetables and then reduce the moisture level, which in a way also increases the shelf life of the raw materials and also helps us in increasing the storage life of our vegetables and other crops. So that was another initiative that I would like to highlight. There were a lot of discussion regarding the environmental impact. And one of the issues that are coming from the farmers who actually use toxic pesticides, which are going into the soil, increasing the heavy metal content of the soil, and as well as the rundown of the water going to the wetlands and also contaminating the water. So our initiative in the contract farming with the farmers, and we provide them pesticides in collaboration with DAE, which are free from this sort of toxic chemicals, which actually impacting the soil quality and as well as reducing the overall production cost for the farmers. Earlier, the farmers' production cost regarding for pesticide, it was around 8,000 to 9,000 taka, which because of the pesticides that we supply with DAE, in collaboration with DAE, the overall production cost also has come down to 4,000 to 5,000 of taka for each farmer. So that has also helped us, our farmers, in reducing their production costs. And also, since we process foods, it's all about factories. We have almost 4 factories, and I'm looking after all those. And you know, in factories means this is energy-intensive operations. We use lots of energies in the form of electricity, in the form of steam and compressed air. So we have our own captive generation, that is, we produce power using natural gas, but we also installed 2 megawatt equivalent solar panel across our factories. So our overall power is around 6 megawatt, so out of which 2 megawatt is coming. So almost 33% of the entire energy demand is coming from the solar panel, and which we also believe is reducing the overall carbon emission from the manufacturing factories from Square Food and Beverage. So I'd like to highlight another two initiatives that we have taken. I don't know whether you have heard the company named Biotech Energy Limited. This is a startup. So what they actually do, they collect used oil from all the factories and restaurants, and then they refine those used oil to produce poultry feed, as well as they export to Singapore and Netherlands for further refining to produce biodiesel. So we came to know about this startup back in 2022, and then we contacted with them. And today we have established a very good supply chain with Biotech, who actually buys the wastes that is being generated at the distributors and retailer levels. So we, on behalf of Biotech, collect those wastes from the distributors and retailers, bring it to our factory, and then Biotech procures those wastes from us. They take it to their factory, and they further process it for poultry feed as well as producing biodiesel. And they are working with Bangladesh Petroleum Corporation for exporting these biodiesel to Singapore and Netherlands. I'd like to share a few data, and you'd be very glad to know that over the last 3 years, so Biotech has taken 2,000 equivalent tons of food waste from us for the last 3 years. And from that, they have produced around 1,700 of poultry feed and around 400 of biodiesel. And 1 kg used oil is equivalent to reducing 3.2 kg of carbon dioxide. So which suggests from 400 kg of biodiesel, so we have already reduced almost 1,200 tons of CO2 emission by introducing this innovative supply chain with biotech. And if you are interested, biotech is also available on CNN. CNN have done a very good documentary on biotech and how they are contributing in reducing this kind of wastes and how they are contributing to the environmental impact. Also, since we produce and we purchase lot of agro materials, so during manufacturing of those agro materials, there will be a lot of byproduct. So we produce mustard oil. And you know, to have the highest quality, since Square represents quality. So 1 kg, if we use 1 kg of mustard seed, we can get only 330 gram of oil, which means 670 gram of mustard seed byproduct is being produced. So around 6,000 tons of mustard oil we produce every year, for which we need to use 20,000 tons of mustard seed. So you can easily understand almost 14,000 of oil cake we produce every year. And this is a very good, I would say, raw material for poultry feed. So there is a very good supply chain, both secondary and tertiary supply chain that we have established in our manufacturing areas in Pabna, in Dinajpur. So where the suppliers, the vendors procure this oil cake from us, and they further utilize it to produce poultry feed and sell it to the various poultry traders. So this is another very good initiative that we have. A few discussions were there today regarding the fresh produce, fresh fruits. That is, we produce a lot, but those are being wasted. We'd be very glad to know that for the last 2 years, we have started exporting mango, lychee and jackfruit to UK and Netherlands as a pilot basis, also with the help of Department of Agricultural Extension. And they are providing all sorts of support to Square Food and Beverage to expand the volumes of fresh food exporting to these countries. And also we have a very good research and development center where we are trying to develop dried fruit chips from mango as well as from jackfruit, which will also ensure that we reduce the food loss so that these can be used around the year and this can be sold to consumers. So these were the initiatives, in short, I'd like to highlight to this audience. But at the same time, I want to highlight one challenge is that as a private sector we are facing today. You know that for export, they look for traceability. Traceability means this rice or this mango from which farmer, from which farm, from which area of the country, and what kind of fertilizer you have used, what kind of pesticides you have used. So they want to know all these details. So this, we have talked about this, various speakers have talked about this, for which we need a proper traceability system, whereas probably blockchain system and other AI-driven technologies can help. So as a private sector and as a very responsible company, Square Food and Beverage, we are very welcoming and open if there is any such initiative from the government or any other private sector, so that we can work in collaboration to set up a traceability system that will help the country and as well as help our export business across the world. So that is in short from Square Food and Beverage and from my side. Thank you very much for a patient hearing. And if there is any question, I would be happy to answer in my capacity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that very impressive and comprehensive presentation. I could pick a lot of things that the private sector is doing, and at the end of the day, we can't deny the fact that the private sector is strategically positioned to meet some of these agricultural infrastructural gaps that are faced by farmers. And also to note that traceability is now a key topic of discussion along the value chain, and it's good that every different sector sitting at this table is looking at it as a priority and something important to include. So to just quickly summarize the discussions of this panel, we heard from WFP how farmers are at the center of food production and how inclusive systems would play a key role in improving food loss and waste. We also saw the staggering difference between farm gate prices and market prices that keep most of the profits out of the farmers' pockets, disincentivizing mass production. Then we heard from the Directorate General of Food about the priorities that the Directorate is topping on their list, including modern storage and handling practices, warehouse management, as well as digital tracking systems, or in other words, traceability, as well as policy advocacy capacity building. Then we from the Department of Agricultural Marketing, the challenges that they're facing, which are plenty and are not enough to be discussed in this short time period. However, the ones that stand out include infrastructure gaps, which one of the most pressing one being lack of cold storage and transportation. The high cost of technology, which keeps this technology out of farmers' reach, and warehouse owners that purchase at higher prices, store and sell, that purchase at low prices, store commodities and sell highly while taking advantage of farmers. Then lastly, we heard from the private sector how the different innovations and investments are bridging the gap between the farmer, the producer, and the markets. For example, we heard how through the capacity building and contract farming, the private sector was able to capacitate farmers to produce heavy minerals or chemical-free rice suitable, acceptable for export markets. We also heard how their infrastructure investment has helped preserve dry chili preservations, even in wet seasons, for example, during the monsoon season, when drying is almost impossible because of lack of sunlight as well as storage facilities. So at the end of the day, what we're seeing here is a complete chain of players that can bring the food systems or food loss and waste to our goal, which is zero. And we hope that we can see that collaborations continue beyond just what we are seeing in this room. So because of time, I've been advised that we will not have an open discussion, but we will leave every one of you with one question. Looking ahead, in the next 5 years, what are the main goals you will be working towards to reduce food loss and waste? I would like to thank our panelists for the engaging discussions here, as well as the innovations that we've learned, and I look forward to the outcome of this conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you to our panelists and moderator for the engaging discussions in session 2. We will now be moving forward with our closing session, and I would like to invite Dr. Fahmida Khatun to deliver her remarks. Following her reflections, the closing remarks will be made by our special guest, the Secretary from Minister of Agriculture, Government of Bangladesh, Dr. Muhammad Imdadullah Mia. I would kindly request our guests to come on stage. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I would like to thank everyone for your patience and stay with us till the last session. It's lunchtime, but I really appreciate your kind gesture of being present here. And in fact, we had very interesting sessions where we had a lot of recommendations, particularly I would like to notice. So the recommendations and the findings both are very useful for the policymakers, and it has provided guidance for the policymakers going forward. So I would, initially there was a plan for summarizing particularly the major recommendations what have been discussed in the sessions, but in the interest of time, I am not going through all these, but basically, as we have heard that the importance of improving infrastructure, then strengthening policies and regulations, enhancing data, then promotion of innovation and technological solutions, public awareness, education, engaging private sector. These were some of the recommendations, and besides that, also support for the farmers, diversification and export opportunities, regulating food waste in tourism and restaurants, improving post-harvest management in fisheries and livestock, food pricing support, government engagement, more promotion of sustainable agriculture, private sector involvement, again, collaboration and multi-stakeholder approach, and then change in consumer behavior as well. So these were the recommendations, but we have an elaborate set of recommendations with details, which may be sent out to you later on. So we are very honored and pleased that we have our special guest today, Dr. Muhammad Imdad Ullah Mia, who is the Secretary of Ministry of Agriculture, Government of Bangladesh. Before I request him to speak, I would just take some time to open the floor even for 5 minutes. And I saved my time by not reading out the recommendations, so I'll spare that for the open floor discussion. And I particularly see many government officials are also here. So if you have some points or some recommendations, I would like to take this opportunity to express yourselves. Particularly, I would like to request the DG of Health. So we would like to hear from you in short.
Thank you. Thank you, respected Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Fahmida Madam. And I was just listening the presentation from the morning. Actually, Ministry of Health is working in collaboration with different ministries. Very recently, our Secretary Sir has signed a joint declaration with 35 ministries, with all the secretaries regarding the control of non-communicable diseases. Yes, we all know food is needed, but safe food is medicine. We have to keep it in mind. Safe food is nutrition. So we need to ensure the safety of the food first. Otherwise, we have to invest more money in treatment. Safe food is medicine as well as it works as antibiotic. We all know it. But while the Square was presenting their food production system, and we are exporting food for the foreigners in the other countries, and that is totally following the international standard. The food is producing outside the purview of Square export-oriented service. Maybe we are not following the international protocol. We are using insecticide and some other things are there. And I can guess that is not healthy food. Definitely we need to ensure the healthy food. One of the cardiac surgeons once told that health is made at home. We must consider it and only repairs it in the hospitals when it breaks down. Actually, we are building a huge number of hospitals in Bangladesh, in private sector as well as in public sector. But keep in mind, each and every year, more than 65 lakhs more than 6 million people are being pushed to the impoverishment due to healthcare expenditure. So we will address the food loss and food waste issue, as well as we need to keep in mind to produce the safe food, not from agriculture, from fisheries and livestock also. Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much for those valuable points. I also see Dr. Jahangir Alam, who is an agricultural economist. So if you would like to share your thoughts briefly. No? Any other interested speakers? If not, let's move quickly to our special guest, Dr. Muhammad Emdadullah Mia, Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, Government of Bangladesh. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Very good afternoon to you all. Madam Fahmida and all the distinguished colleagues and the ladies and gentlemen, those who are here today. It's already late, I believe. All are hungry. But still, I think, as I'm here, so to share some of our thoughts and appreciate inviting me here and to know and learn and to get some feedbacks from different multidimensional sectors, and also to share some of our thoughts, what we are doing actually, and what is our plan to some extent to ensure the very topic, which is the food loss, and the topic of this conference is like towards zero food waste and loss, building a sustainable food value chain in Bangladesh. There's a very real big challenge to make it zero. If you can make it zero, but at least if you can reduce in a significant way, that might be the great achievement for all of us. Anyway, so as Secretary of Ministry of Agriculture, I would like to confine my discussion very briefly regarding the policies and the future course of actions which we are planning for to ensure the food security of the country, which is also definitely covered with this conference topic too. What we are now looking for in this interim government, we are actually planning to develop 25 years long-term strategic agriculture plan to ensure the safe and nutritious food security for our human and non-human consumptions. So that's our vision at this point, and we are working on that. Food and Agriculture Organization, World Bank, ADB, and other development partners also helping us to develop that long-term perspective or strategic plan for agriculture. What we are planning, we are now in a process of that and hope that by the end of December, we'll be able to develop the final draft for it, and we'll ensure as an official document in first month of next year, inshallah, with all of your help and also getting feedback from others. So to ensure those food security, as I said, safe and nutritious food, what my colleague also from the Ministry of Health mentioned, we want to have a farmers-friendly agroeconomy for the country. There are discussions, what I'm here, I came to learn, and some of our colleagues from different parts, they are also mentioning that farmers need to get the proper bill of their protections. So that's a big challenge for all of us. And we want to ensure that farmers-friendly agroeconomy by developing agro-processing and agro-industrialization for the country. So it's ambitious, but definitely I strongly believe that achievable goal. So we need to work together, and we actually very wholeheartedly want to invite and also expect and request all of the concerns and including the development partners and youth and think tanks and others to assist us to develop a strategic paper and also the plan through which Ministry of Agriculture is planning to develop short, mid, and long-term planning, and also to achieve those goal, we are also planning to develop the relevant and the right projects and also the programs to achieve that goal. For food safety or the waste loss, if we go with that, instantly just like not the right time to go with all the detail, but I can just remember one memory of my mind just came to my mind. It was back in 2004. I went to Australia to pursue a master's program there. So I was in Melbourne in a restaurant. So in other table, three or four people just finished their dinner, and they were just about to go out. And one lady from the other table, she was just like kind of stopping that person, just, excuse me, gentlemen, you're wasting food. And the people, one of those four people, they said, no worries, I'm going to pay for that. So that lady was then reiterating, well, it's not the matter of payment. You are wasting food from the world food baskets. It was back in 2004. It's like kind of amazing experience for me, and that should be the sensitized situation for us if we can actually go with that, the way we are thinking for now. So if we want to go for, as I don't have enough time, I know, because it's not a very right idea to go with all the details, just to make it short, what we think should do, we need the food security first, that's for sure. But again, if we just only feed the whatever consumption for both human and non-human, then other dimensional effects and impacts may come up, which has other economic cost and also have some extra cause effect, and maybe health hazard, environment, pollution, and so on. Here from Square, one of our colleagues, he was mentioning that just like the traceability. To share with you, all of you, that just like from the Ministry of Agriculture, under the Ministry of Agriculture, from the Ministry of Agriculture Extension, we have one project called Partner. World Bank and IFAD is also funding for us, and my colleagues are there. Here too from that World Bank and IFAD, they also well aware about that. From that projects, only from one single project, we are targeting within the next 3 years, we will cover 200,000 hectares of land, which will be under the GAP initiative, that's called the Good Agricultural Practices. And traceability is there, and it's already practicing, I can share you. And there are many other ways we can do that. What I'm thinking and asking and requesting the private sector representative, also the other people, those can help us in that regard. As you said, the traceability is a pertinent or very important part for overall export development. So that's one part. But to get a safe food, for us, at least for the country, we may not need that traceability directly, but we need to ensure the safe food production. So that's one part. For the export part, if any of the exporters, like I'm openly inviting, maybe after this meeting I can be with him or any other exporters, those are here working. If you have a specific plan for any products for any export, and we get that assurance, at least potential assurance, then we from the Ministry of Agriculture are ready to support you with all this traceability and everything. The reason I'm sharing, we are actually investing a good amount of money with the hope that our production or export will be increased, manifold. Unfortunately, the investment was not rightly invested, I must say, and we are not actually, with all the whole value chain of this food production and the export, are not connected properly. So that's a huge gap. As a student of business, I can assess and I can visualize that we need to identify the market and also the products. And then if we identify the market, we need to target the country, specific country, even the specific, what it called, the brand, and then the right shelf. So if we can connect all those things together, and then from from forward to backward linkage, if we connect it and get it all this, ensure all the processes, which is mandatory for those export, and we can work together and can identify those and also go for it, all these things. So this is one aspect what I wanted to share. Regarding the pesticides and others, there were some discussion about that. From the government side, I really admit that there are a lot of limitations and there are so many issues and concerns. We could not yet manage those things rightly, and we need to work a lot, and we need support from different corners of the players. In particular, the business people, those are doing business in pesticides and herbicides. The reason I'm sharing, and we are working on that, we are developing a policy, and very soon, inshallah, we'll be able to make it as a rules so that we can have some right management, not the control of the pesticides. So that's what we are working on, and just one thing to share that in Bangladesh, we have 309, if I'm not wrong, the generic brand for pesticides. But for that 309 generic brand, we have more than 8,500 varieties of pesticides all over the country, which is more than the Indian total varieties and the numbers of those pesticides in India practicing. And not only that, the alarming thing is we have almost more than 3,000 varieties are now, they actually applied to get the permission from the government. And we stopped those things now at this point, and we are not actually giving any more permissions for any varieties, but still we are considering that we need to go with all the details, whatever we do have, and then we will come up with a conclusion, and after developing that rules and regulations, then we will go for that maybe. So these are the aspects. The chemical fertilizer usage and huge issues, and we are also targeting to minimize and standardize the chemical fertilizer using, and also we need to develop the alternative use of fertilizers so that we can have those impact are not actually that much the way it's happened to be now. We don't have some areas can't actually beyond our control. Say for example, the industrial waste and also the other chemical waste and so on, those are actually coming up with a different way in the field, particularly the paddy field and also the fisheries and livestock. So these are also detrimental for the human health and also the animal health. So those are the areas we also need to work on. So these are some of the, not the directly related, but indirectly related to our topics today. For food stress and loss, what we could do. The Ministry of Agriculture, as I said, we are planning for a 25 years long-term strategic plan we are developing. Definitely that food loss will be one very important aspect for us. And we have this small cold storage, we are initiating those things. I will just give you one example that this year we are providing 100 mini cold storage and also another one that is coming up. So through us, we are now trying to testing that how the benefit the farmers are getting from it. But it's a real challenge if it is the production and also the market supply and demand. Madam is a renowned economist and she knows way more better than me. The demand and supply, if it is not rational or at least in a standard way, we can't actually control this food loss. This year, my colleague from the dam, he was trying to mention that the potato production this year was like almost 1.5 times more than the previous years. And we are trying to somehow minimize the production cost for the farmers, but we could not make it, unfortunately, because the production was such a huge amount, we could not actually, and demand is not that much. And we, from the ministry, from the cabinet division, we were assigned to develop a policy of how best we can actually help the farmers. And we consulted all the stakeholders and decided to fix the amount, so to 22 taka per kilo in the cold storage gate. But unfortunately, those are not actually implementing properly. And again, we came to know that just like this 15 to 16 taka per kilo is now in the cold storage gate, and in the market is 22 taka. But our target was like, if we can ensure that, and the cold storage, the owners and the associations were also mentioning that if you can fix that amount, probably the market price will be higher. That didn't work because the cold storage associations, they are not actually in a consensus mode, so that they are actually they're selling their products whatever market demand is that at the time. So it not work properly. Government are also trying to, this is for the first time we are actually purchasing 50,000 tons of potatoes from the farmers. But again, we think that it's like kind of, it's not that a big initiative, but we can't actually make it. So unfortunately, whatever policy after production we are trying to implement, that not work properly. So what we need the check and balance of the production and the demand. So that's why the Ministry of Agriculture, what we are now prioritized, that we need to know the exact demand of our consumptions. And for that, we are working on with the BBS. I'm not going to all the details. BBS and also this PARSUS, and using the satellite image and also the remote sensing tools and AI, we are planning to know the development of the total productions and also the need and demand. So based on that, we'll go for policy intervention for production period, meaning, so this time the potato market is lower, so maybe next year the farmers will not be willing to produce potatoes. So what we are planning, we want to calculate the catchment areas and what be the rational production for potatoes, and we'll go for policy, incentives. We'll provide policy incentives for the potato growers next year, coming years. And same thing for onions. And you know that previous year the onions price was very high, and this year onion production was also high. But fortunately, we could have a we call this Lakshmi Prajakti, means our local technology intervention, and we got the airflow machines. And within 2 months, from the ministry side, we supplied 8,000 free airflow machines for the farmers, and through which each of the farmers kind of PPP model. So we supply the airflow machine, and they actually develop the silo type of small storage facilities. And that way, we could, we just like this year, the onion price is in a standard manner, meaning, so we don't need to lose the onions, and farmers are getting price in a rational way, through which they can actually provide the onions in the market, and the onion extended life is now increased for 6 to 8 months. And interestingly, I'm just sharing with one thing. Last week, we received more than 10 advice from the Ministry High Court Division that the onion importers, they go to the court to get the permission for onion import. But we stopped that because we can't actually compromise with the benefit for the farmers. As we said, we want to ensure the farmers-friendly agroeconomy. I'm not going into all that much. One thing I am just want to share at last. The agriculture is the sector through which I think our economy can develop. So we have, various plan. As we said, we are developing that 25 years long-term strategic plan. Then we will work together with the development partners or private sectors and agencies and also the export market. And based on that, we want to ensure the agro-mechanization, agro-processing, and all the technology transfer, and which is really feasible and acceptable for us. We don't want to go for anything aggressive, but definitely we know where to go and how to go and what step we need to what step by step we need to go for that. So I don't want to go with all the details because it's already 2. I must stop here. But again, thank you once again for inviting me, particularly Madam Fahmida and also the organizers. We are open, and I really want to go with sort of discussions and exchange our views with the think tanks, experts, partners, NGOs, and private sectors, so that together we can actually develop a right policy, strategic policy, through which our country will grow. And we firmly believe that for the economic development of the country, the agro-economic development should be the runway for the overall development of the economy. So I'm not going, I thank you again, and thanks for patient hearings, and all the best. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mohammad Imdadullah Mia, for your very insightful and informative speech. We are really encouraged to know that the Ministry of Agriculture is preparing a 25-year-long strategic plan, and also we are encouraged to know that you have an open-minded approach to engage all the stakeholders, including the private sector, development partners, think tanks, NGOs. So because this issue needs to be addressed through a collaborative approach, because as you have rightly mentioned, towards zero food waste and loss, this is a very ambitious target, but we'll have to work towards achieving that in the near future. So with this, I would like to close this session, today's session. I would like to thank all the co-organizers, again, the Embassy of Denmark, along with them, Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, World Food Programme, the World Bank, and also, most importantly, my colleagues from the Center for Policy Dialogue, in the Dialogue and Communications Department. They have worked in putting this program together. I hope this has been a very fruitful session. We look forward to your presence in the near future in a different program. Thank you. So I would like to invite you to the lunch.